Hello and welcome to the 2023 IPF World Classic Sub-Junior and Junior Powerlifting Championships here in Cluj-Napoca, Romania, the heart of Transylvania. I am Amelia Potter, joined by Alice de Boek.
A very good afternoon, Amelia. How are you doing?
I'm doing excellently well, thank you. And we have a fantastic session for us today. We have the 59 kilo sub-junior and junior men. And as you can see, the running order there, we prepare to lift off. And we have some really strong openers here. And kicking us off, we have Ali Khan Ekti of Turkey, 125 kilos.
Which is only 5 kilos underneath his personal best. The spotters are just finishing loading the barbell until the clock will be running down. Ali Khan is patiently waiting. And the bar is loaded. The competition has begun. And here is our first competitor out on the platform.
Ali Khan Ekti of Turkey, 125 kilos. Nice, easy opener there. And 3 white lights, a good lift. We now have Carlo Visa of Italy, 130 kilos.
10 kilos beneath his personal best. Let's see how he can move this. And that was very smooth, just like an opener should look, and it's a 3 white light, good lift. Just take a look at the replay. Nice and deep and very smooth on the way up. When we talk about depth, we are talking about the hip crease going lower than the top of the knee.
We now have Daniel Sajben of Hungary, 135 kilos. Nice deep squat there. And a good lift. We now have Matej Newman of Czechia opening on 140 kilos.
Just 5 kilos shy of his personal best. Very deep.
Yeah, wow, look at that. Almost Olympic level deep there. 3 white lights, a good lift. And we're seeing some great examples of openers here today. You want to open with somewhere to go. We've seen athletes open on what seems like a limit lift for them and then has nowhere to go for their second and third. It's about building a total, not just getting 3 lifts in.
And you're completely right with that, Amelia. Right on the money.
We have Matthew Kaharop of Philippines, 157.5 kilos.
Hasn't even been competing for 1 year and opening 2.5 kilos underneath his personal best. He must have made some great progress inside of the gym. Let's see how he makes this one move.
Yeah, nods it all the way up. He knows that feels good. And 3 white lights, a good lift. He also is projected 4th overall, but only 10 kilos behind the podium there, so I think he'll be fighting all the way.
And if you can see it on the replay, his knee sleeves are pretty low.
Yeah, it does seem like that. Perhaps struggled to get them up there.
Maybe with the warm weather, a bit of sweat, and then it's way harder to get him up.
Yeah, it is hot here in Cluj-Napoca, around the mid-20s to 30s. We now have Alfie Bonsell of Great Britain, 160 kilos.
He will be having the national record. His squat personal best is 173 kg. Also nice and deep, very smooth. Like I said, just like you want an opener to move, 3 white lights, good lift.
Yeah, as you said, you want your opener to be easy because if in the worst case scenario you have to retake it for a certain reason or need to re-rack, you want to be able to do it in any circumstance, and it should look just like that really, yeah.
You can never control outside variables, but you can definitely control your own variables.
We have Fahad Al-Ghanem there of Bahrain. It's not the right flag there, but he's from Bahrain, 160 kilos.
Opening conservative, 20 kilos beneath his personal best.
Stands it up. Question was that deep enough? No, unfortunately, just cuts depth a little bit there. So hopefully he can just sink it a little bit more in his second, as strength doesn't seem to be an issue.
And this is what we've been talking about. If you need to retake it, if you need to adjust, you can still make it work with the right weight.
Hayato Okabe of Japan, opening on 170 kilos.
Also a conservative opener, 15 kilos underneath his personal best. That looks nice and smooth.
And it is a good lift. Quite tall for a 59 kilo lifter. But as these are the sub-juniors, you can imagine that they are going to change weight classes a few times in their career. We now have Wei Chen Huang of Chinese Taipei opening on 172.5 kilos, our penultimate opener of the flight.
Just 2.5 kilos shy of his personal best. Let's see how he makes this one move. Wow.
Yeah, fantastic job there. And just shy of 3 times body weight as well there on his opening attempt.
And it wasn't even the heaviest opener. That's for the next competitor.
Yeah, and that looked like a really nice attempt from Huang. What do you think there?
He definitely has some kilos left in the tank. He will be talking to his coach. What is the next jump?
Now, as you alluded to before, we have one last opener, and that is Kohei Hoshino of Japan, opening on 192.5 kilos. And it's worth mentioning that the world sub-junior record in the 59 kilo category is 200. So I think, you know, should this move well, we might see him stab at that for his second. What do you reckon, Alias?
Well, it is an opener, so I reckon he has some left in the tank after this one. So maybe even on a second if he's been having a good day.
Yeah, and based off his teammates' opener, I imagine they both are opening somewhat conservative, which is exciting.
He did just get the beep. Whenever you hear that on your screen, the timer has been run halfway down. He has 15 more seconds, plenty of time if he doesn't need to re-rack it, that is.
Gets the squat command with 10 seconds to go. Ooh, and it's a little bit tricky, but perhaps just felt a little bit rushed there, and it's a good lift.
It was more work than we expected, but maybe, you know, he took his time and then maybe had to rush a little bit. Let's see on the second attempt what he's able to do. And maybe we'll see a jab at the World Sub-Junior World Record in the second or third attempt.
Yeah, I imagine with his opener moving like that, maybe he'll take a smaller jump and stab at it on his third. But we'll have to wait and see, because we are now going straight through to second attempt. And we have Ali Khan Ekdi of Turkey, 135 kilos.
For a 5 kilo PB.
And a little bit of trouble out the hole there, but he pushes through. Ooh, unfortunately, 2-1, a no lift. A depth call there from the center and side referee.
And we just saw a change on the second attempt of Hoshino from Japan.
Which isn't normal, but I think there was a mistake, as Alias pointed out.
There was a little mistake.
Ooh, and that has been overruled to a good lift for Ekdi. And that's why it's always worth the coach going to the jury. We've got Carlo Vizza of Italy now, 140 kilos.
Trying to match his personal best. And I think that looked good.
Yeah, I think he did it with his belt open as well.
Yeah, he did.
3 right lights, a good lift. Maybe it does a good enough job without being closed. Who knows? The SBD belts are just that good. Doesn't even need to be closed.
They're just that good. Maybe a little thank to SBD and Elico, our main sponsors. Thank you for providing everything for the competition.
145 kilos for Daniel Sajben of Hungary.
A 10 kilo jump from his opener and 7.5 kilos above his personal best. Should he get this one? A bit more work than his opener, but looks good. 3 white lights, good lift.
Matej Newman of Czechia, 150 kilos. A 10 kilo jump from his opener. Flying past his current PB of 145 should he get this.
Really deep again, a little bit harder out of the hole, but that's a trade-off with depth.
Yeah,
He won't get a
absolutely.
depth call, but it makes the lift that much easier. And now we have 3 white lights from the referees, so a good lift.
It makes that lift that much harder, sorry. Yeah, and it absolutely does. When you put more weight on that bar, it's going to be harder and harder, as you said, to get enough power to get out of that position. We now have Fahad Al-Jenem of Bahrain, missed 160 kilos on his opener for depth, retaking it now for his second. I think the sensible choice there.
And as you said on his opener, the strength was there. He just needs to find a couple of more inches to depth, getting his hip crease below the top of his knee.
That looked a little bit better this time round. Ooh, but unfortunately not good enough. And unfortunately it can't be contested, as there are 3 reds there. And let's have a look again on the replay. As Elias just pointed out, he is projected 3rd overall, so really needs this.
Just sink it on your third. Go as deep as possible. The strength is clearly there. It would be a shame to not be able to make a total and not be able to contend for that 3rd place position.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Matthew Karaharp of the Philippines, 167.5 kilos, looking to fight his way onto the podium overall, and every kilo will count.
7.5 kilos above his personal best. And it's definitely work. Oh,
Wow.
did the bar go down or only? Yeah.
Unfortunately. But I mean, I must say, I'm just impressed that he managed to stand that up. So hopefully he can push through that again one more time on his 3rd attempt, but it did look hard. Although that last bit looked pretty easy, so I was hoping that was just a technical issue.
He just needs to get past that sticking point.
We now have Alfie Bonsell of Great Britain, 172.5 kilos, a 12.5 kilo jump from his opener.
That's a pretty hefty jump in this category, and this is just a half a kilo shy of his national record. But of course, at an international level competition, you can only go up a half a kilo if it's a world record.
And slow and steady.
Wins the race.
And it does, 3 white lights. I was waiting until I saw that it was a good lift before I jumped the gun there, but I think you knew there it would have been a good lift, because pretty picture perfect there. Wei-Chen Huang of Chinese Taipei, jumping 7.5 kilos to 180 on his 2nd attempt.
$7.5 kilo jump, and this for a 5 kilo personal best. Wow, That was a very nice looking second attempt. I think one of the easiest so far. He did get one yellow. Did you see why?
I'm not sure. Let's have a look here in the replay. Perhaps a yellow can be for jumping the command, as well as not properly locked out in certain places. But the jury seem happy with it, so it's a good lift. We have our penultimate second attempts now. The last two second attempts will be from Team Japan. And first up we have Hayato Okabe of Japan, 180 kilos. Oh, unfortunately, can't quite get out of the hole there. His opener did look really strong, so maybe it is a technical issue rather than a strength issue. So let's just catch that again on the replay and see if we can see what happened. Oh, it does just look a little bit too heavy for him, unfortunately.
His opener did look like a bit of work, but he will get a second chance.
And now, as we predicted before, we are seeing on his second attempt something really exciting here. The chips have been shown to the referees. Kohei Hoshino of Japan jumping to 200.5 kilos for a world sub-junior squat record, chipping it by 0.5 of a kilo. Oh, unfortunately, just seems a little bit too heavy for him, but he does have that third attempt to retry the world sub-junior squat record.
And honestly, I expected he came pretty well out of that hole, and then it seemed like he just gave up too early.
Yeah, maybe he knows his sticking point, and perhaps he's saving the energy to try and reattempt it on his third should he have missed that. So hopefully it's something he can come back through and get on his third attempt. We would really love to see him walk away with the new squat record here in the sub-juniors, but just not quite yet.
He is already in first place for the squat medal, and nobody is trying to catch up. So he already has it. He cannot lose it anymore. So let's just take another jab at it.
You have Ali Khan Ekdi of Turkey, 142.5 kilos.
Should he get this, he will increase his personal best with 7.5 kilos.
When he manages to stand it up with some energy left to go, and 2-1, a good lift. Just a depth call from that right hand side. And yeah, he's really walking the border there with depth, but I think just on the right side of it. We have Daniel Sajben of Hungary, 150 kilos for his third and final attempt.
Looking to improve his personal best with 5 kilos. Having a little ritual there. Taking his time. You do have 1 full minute but you have to get the squat command before the timer gets to 0, or you'll time out. And that was work. He came out of the hole, but then shifted to the front. Too much pressure on the toes. The barbell rolled forward, and he couldn't get it into his bar path anymore.
Now Carlo Vizza of Italy, 150 kilos. Another equal 10 kilo jump.
Wow, he is a fighter.
Yeah, wow, what a fantastic last attempt. You couldn't have put a feather on that bar.
And as you will see in the replay, he comes out of the hole. It gets really hard, but his position doesn't change at all, which
Yeah.
makes it that much better for him.
Yeah, really wonderful last attempt. And like you said, that makes it so much easier to push through when it gets hard, being able to maintain that position.
Once your form starts breaking down, you're shooting yourself in the foot, and it gets so much harder.
Matej Newman of Czechia now, 155 kilos.
Looking to increase his personal best with 5 kilo. Really deep again, and wow, he actually manages to push through. 3 white lights, good lift.
Yeah, and often, like you said, we see people trade depth for strength and vice versa. He did a really fantastic job of holding on to both there. We now have Farhad Alganaim of Bahrain. Missed 160 kilos on his opener and his second for depth. As we said, he is supposed to be projected third, and should he miss this, he cannot compete overall. He's gone up 5 kilos anyway, which you usually see in equipped, but maybe he just thinks the extra 5 kilos will help him find that depth a little bit better, sink him into the hole. He needs this to stay in the competition.
It did look a little bit better.
Yeah, it did look better, you're right. Was it good enough though? He waits. Oh.
No.
And that is such a shame. He looks at the jury, but they cannot do anything.
And unfortunately, when there's 3 red lights, the coach cannot try to dispute it at the jury table. So unfortunately, he cannot make a total.
Yeah, the coach just went up to the table, but the jury explains the same thing as you just did to him. We have Matthew Kaharop of the Philippines, missed 167.5 on his second, reattempting it now on his third.
Wow! He passes his sticking point this time, and it's a 3 white light. Good lift.
Yeah, and he throws his belt over his shoulder. Job well done. Gonna go sit down to a bench. A really nice third attempt there. And a great comeback. We now have Alfie Bonzo of Great Britain, 175 kilos, a 2.5 kilo jump from his second. He's currently sat in squat bronze medal.
2 kilos above his national record. And it looks definitely deep enough.
That was a lovely looking third.
And it's a 3 white light, good lift. And like you said, he is in that bronze medal position. However, the next competitor will try and take that away from him.
Yeah, but for now he holds on to it. His fate is in the hand of Hayato Okabe of Japan. Missed 180 kilos on his second, looking to retake it now on his third, and this will pull him back into squat bronze ahead of Alfie of Great Britain. He fights up, but yeah.
I'm not sure about depth.
No, I'm definitely not sure about that. Unfortunately, it's a no lift, and that was sky high, I'm afraid. And he smiles as he comes off. And it is a no lift, but luckily he does get his opener in, which was still a huge 170 kilos. We now have Wei Chen Huang of Chinese Taipei, 185 kilos for his third and final attempt. Already has squat silver. Looking to just increase his total by 5 kilos to stay in silver overall.
And that looks great. He had some more kilos in the tank, but he made a smart decision not to overdo it. 3 white lights, good lift. And as you say, trying to secure that silver medal overall as well. He already has second in the squat. And now onto our last competitor in the sub-juniors.
So we have Kohei Hoshino of Japan, attempted the record on his second and now is attempting it on his third. 200.5 kilos for the world sub-junior squat record. Seemed to give up just outside of the hole on his second. Can he push through now for the world sub-junior squat record? We will find out in the next few seconds. Make sure he is 100% mentally ready to attempt this world record. Hit step, oh, unfortunately doesn't fight through. He leaves smiling anyway. Doesn't quite take the world record today, but as you said before, is still leading in squats and overall. Such a shame, but he doesn't lose anything except the chance of the world record there. And we move straight through to the junior men, the 59 kilo class. And first out, we have our first Canadian lifter of the championships, Jake Edrelin, 160 kilos.
As you pointed out, he has a high belt placement. 15 kilos under his personal best to open at the World Championships. Wow.
Yeah, that was a lovely, tidy opener from Jake. And a good lift. Now, what would the reason be for a lifter wearing their belt particularly high?
Honestly, if, for example, you put it a bit lower and it just feels uncomfortable, it maybe hits your hip when you go down in the hole, and it's just the opposite of good. I'm just losing my words for a
That's
second.
okay, don't worry.
I was reading something and I lost my words. But if it's hindering yourself, that was what I was searching for. If it's hindering you, it is in your best interest to put it somewhere else.
That makes sense. Ibrahim Sandogji of Saudi Arabia, 162.5 kilos. And my, oh my, was that a speedy opener. 3 white lights, a good lift. We have a name here that I'm sure you recognize. At age 20 has been competing for 9 years and a favorite here in the 59 kilo category, Bodie Lacoe of the United States, opening on 172.5 kilos. Projected 3rd overall and a veteran to the sport at the age of 20.
20 kilo beneath his personal best.
Wow, really deep.
Very smooth. A conservative opener, and it pays off. 3 white lights.
He has a good lift. And I'm sure his brother competes as well. Yeah, his brother Dalton competes also in the IPF. We now have Ryan Yong of Singapore, 177.5 kilos. I think one of 4 Singaporean athletes we'll see this week.
He is mentioning to one of the spotters that the rack height is not correct. So they will be adjusting it, and after he will get his full minute back. And the clock is ticking. 1 minute to go. 12.5 kilos beneath his personal best.
A little bit of work out the hole there, but it was lovely and deep. And 3 white lights, a good lift.
And as I mentioned about some other singlets, the Singaporean SBD singlet is such a beautiful one.
Yeah, similar colorway to the Canadian one, both really nice, matching that classic black and red SBD look. I saw another one earlier that I remembered I liked as well, which was the Netherlands, the black and orange, which is really nice.
They are.
We now have Herman Charbonnier of France, 180 kilos.
Charbonnier.
I'm not quite European enough yet, clearly. But nonetheless, Herman has 180 kilos.
20 kilos beneath his personal best.
And looking like a strong opener. And 3 white lights, a good lift for Jean Bonnier. We now have Alexei Laurence Agabon of the Philippines, 182.5 kilos.
Conservative opener, 17.5 kilos beneath his personal best. Lovely looking opener.
Yeah, it looked conservative. 2-1, a good lift, however. Just a depth call from the left-hand side referee. We'll watch that again in the replay. This is the side he got the red from. But no, that looks pretty good to me there. I think he'll be safe. Now, a name you definitely recognize here in the 59 kilo class. Ivan Campaño Diaz of Spain, 197.5 kilos. $197.5 kilos for his opening attempt.
Very easy. Let's see what the referees say. And we were looking at each other, but luckily 2-1 good lift. Only one red from the right side referee.
Yeah, and obviously this side he got a white light from, and it does look a lot better now. I can see it from the side angle. We now move on to our second attempt, and we have Jake Edralin of Canada, 175 kilos, a 15 kilo jump from his opener.
This to equal his personal best at a World Championships. A bit of work, but he pushes through. And he sticks out his tongue at the crowd. Thumbs up, 3 white lights, good lift.
Yeah, you know White Lights Media is going to get a good picture of that. We now have Ibrahim Sandoji, Saudi Arabia, 175 kilos, a 12.5 kilo jump from his opener.
Looks like work. It is work, but he manages to fight through. It was a great fight. Did it pay off? It did.
3 white lights, and I didn't think it went down, and he did a tremendous job to stop it from doing so. Watch this.
Yeah, because if you see, his hip shut up a little bit, which made his bar roll a little bit forward, but he kept pushing backward with his shoulders and kept it in place.
Now, would you come out for a third if that was how hard your second was?
Honestly, if he feels like this was a technical issue, okay, maybe you can go up 2.5, 5 maybe. If this was just his top strength, I would maybe recommend not go out and save your energy for bench and deadlifts.
We now have Bodie Laco of the United States, 182.5 kilos, a 10 kilo jump from his opener.
he is definitely in the running for a podium spot, so he wants to catch those kilos.
2-1, a good lift. Just gets a a blue call from the left side referee. I'm trying to see what that would have been for. There maybe just not being fully erect at the end of the lift. Nonetheless, he gets it. 2-1. We now have Ryan Yong of Singapore, 185 kilos. The clock is timing down, but I can't see Ryan. And I can't imagine he's just missing this on purpose. So I'm not sure if there's been a timing issue. As this is a 7.5 kilo jump, I can't imagine it was just a placeholder. Not a placeholder, sorry. It was just something to let the time run out for. So not too sure what's happened there, but I can't imagine he'll make it with 5 seconds to go. So hopefully he can make it out on time for his third. But his opener didn't look like a limit lift, so perhaps he's injured. We'll wait and find out on his third to see what's going on there.
Another possibility is just he wants to save some more energy. His
Absolutely.
opener was maybe a little bit harder than he wanted to, so an extra few minutes for his third, and then he might feel that's a better outcome for him.
Yeah, I completely agree. I've seen that happen plenty of times if he thinks that's the smartest move for him because it's such a short flight. We now have Herman Charbonnier of France, 190 kilos. Just in the nick of time, Charbonnier gets the start command and 3 white lights, a good lift. We now have Alexei Laurence Agabon of the Philippines, 192.5 kilos.
10 kilo jump from his opener, 7.5 kilos shy of his personal best.
This will move him into squat silver heading into the third attempt. Currently projected second overall as well, with Laco hot on his tail.
And that looked a little bit high to me. Let's see what the referees say.
Yeah, unfortunately just didn't quite get to depth there. Let's have a look at that again on the replay from a bit more of a side angle. Yeah, I think it walks the line, but unfortunately with just no white lights, that can't be contested. And yeah, as you said, it looked high. We now have Ivan Campano Diaz, 210 kilos for his second attempt, a 12.5 kilo jump, and just 18 kilos below the world record.
España, also with a high belt placement. Searches for depth quite nicely.
Yeah, wow, and actually I think looked a bit faster than his opener. But 2-1, a good lift, just as you said, a depth call there from the right.
but very strong looking. And I don't know about an 18 kilo jump.
Yeah, we'll find out very shortly. I mean, he's already got squat gold and he's ahead by some way. Well, 25 kilos or 35 kilos, but he hasn't gone for it by the looks of things, and I think that's smart. We go through to our third attempts now. Kicking us off, we have Ibrahim Sandogji of Saudi Arabia, 177.5 kilos. Sensible 2.5 kilo jump there, just to get the extra couple kilograms on his total.
Just too heavy. He's also our youngest junior today, only 19 years old.
His personal best is 175. The band is loading now.
182.5 kilos for Jake Edrelin of Canada.
Skipping onto the podium. He has a little bit of excess energy, it seems.
Some pep in his step, you might say. A great attitude to have. This is a 7.5 kilo jump from his second. Nice strong unrack there from Jake.
Nice and steady walkout. Ooh, just a little bit too heavy. He thanks the crowd, he thanks the spotters, and he walks off the podium with a smile. Great sportsmanship.
Yeah, and it's so nice to see. I think it's so easy to forget that you're here to compete, but also to enjoy yourself. And it's great to see athletes doing both. 187.5 kilos for Bodie Lecoe of the United States. Currently sat in squat bronze. But that can be taken away from him. This won't move him up the ranks, but we'll keep him in squat bronze for the time being and give him the extra 5 kilos on his total he'll need towards the end.
Wow, that is a fight.
Wow.
But he's a fighter. And he nods his head no, but the referees say yes. Good lift.
Fantastic effort from Lecoe there.
And I just think he was nodding his head no, like, damn, I wanted some more kilos. But you know what? He made a sensible decision right on the money. He does not lose kilos. He only gains kilos for his projected total.
Yeah, and with Agamon not with his second squat in, he can hopefully make up some ground for himself, trying to chase that silver medal overall. But now we have Ryan Young of Singapore, missed 185 on his second, has gone up 5 kilos to 190 now for his third and final attempt.
So he didn't come out for his second and now jumped 5 kilos for his third. And he does it! Wow!
And it is a good lift, and I'm thinking exactly what you said. It's a flight of 7. It's a very quick turnover, especially because it's raw. They don't have as much to put on and take off in between. So I don't imagine he actually lost any kilos there. Those look like his planned jumps. So a really fantastic job from Team Singapore there.
A bit of an unorthodox decision, but it really paid off in the end.
192.5 kilos for Herman Charbonnier of France.
It's work, but he's fighting. No, just too heavy.
Yeah, unfortunately, just a bit too much for Charbonnier there.
But he only jumped 2.5 kilos. That's the smallest possible increment. So actually, he did not lose any kilos on his total. Because if this was too heavy, then the 190 is all he had in the tank for today.
Absolutely. We have Alexi Laurent Agabon of Philippines, missed 192.5 on his second, is looking for 195 now on his third, and this will pull him into squat silver in the 59 kilo junior class.
And I think he went up 2.5 kilos because of Charbonnier. If he would have gotten the 192.5, Agabon is a bit heavier, so then he would have needed 2.5 more.
Wow, what a great fight. Question is, was it deep enough? Unfortunately, I think his torso kept going down, but his hips stayed up and didn't quite reach depth, but it was a great effort. You can see here his torso dips down.
It was on the border, but the referees need to make a split-second decision.
Yeah, and today they want depth. They saw these sub-juniors and how deep they went, and now they want it from everyone. We now have Ivan Campano Diaz, 220 kilos for his third and final attempt. Already has squat gold, looking to add an extra 10 kilos to his total. This would give him an even heftier lead than he already has over Laco and Agabon.
And this is 10 kilo above his personal best.
Ooh, but it's just too heavy for him today, unfortunately. But he still walks away with squat gold and is still with a good lead ahead of the rest of the pack. And that concludes squats for us in this afternoon session. We're going to have a 10-minute break before bench press, but very quickly, in the sub-juniors, in gold for squat, we have Kohei Hoshino of Japan. In silver, we have Wei Chen Huang of Chinese Taipei. And in bronze, we have Alfie Bonzo of Great Britain. And in the juniors in gold, we have Ivan Campano Diaz of Spain. In silver, we have Herman Charbonnier of France. And in bronze, we have Ryan Yong of Singapore. Don't go anywhere. We will see you in 10 minutes for bench press.
y'all don't know this, y'all in danger, I'm a threat. Silly, y'all don't know this, y'all in danger, I'm a threat. Threat, 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 threat. Silly, y'all don't know this, y'all in danger, I'm a threat.
A very good afternoon. We are here at the IPF World Classic Sub Junior and Junior Powerlifting Championships live at Cluj Napoca, Romania. We are having a blast, and I'm here with Amelia. Hello, Amelia.
Hello, Hello, Elias. Lovely to speak to you once again. And as you said, it's been quite the exciting session here in the 59 kilo class. We saw, obviously, Hoshino try and break the world sub-junior record.
Unfortunately, it was just a tad too heavy. He had two jabs at it. The second one, it was fairly close, but unfortunately. But now we are heading into our bench press event, the sub juniors 59 kilo class, and we have Daniel Sajben from Hungary opening with 85 kilos.
Just 7.5 kilos shy of his personal best. And I imagine his personal best may be a second attempt for him now.
Looked very easy indeed. And the referees, we're waiting for the left side. He has a bit of trouble with his lights. He came to the technical management, and I'm sure they are going to resolve that fairly quickly. And here it is, 3 white lights, good lift. And we are already heading into our second lifter of the flight, Hayato Okabe from Japan, also opening with 85 kilos.
And that looked like a sensible looking opener. 3 white lights, a good lift, and I imagine it is a sensible opener for him as his current personal best is 100 kilos.
It was smooth from start to finish. Good opener. And we are already going to Matej Newman from Czechia. And he will be opening 90 kilos.
That looked nice and powerful. And 3 white lights, a good lift.
Coming up next is Matthew Cameron from the Philippines. The bar is loaded.
He held it quite long on his chest. He was already been given the press command. The next lifter, Matthew Kaharop from Philippines, also opening up with 90 kilos. And it looks like he has his necklace in his mouth.
That looks good. And 3 white lights, a good lift. Yeah, some lifters do put their jewelry in their mouth. Some is like ritualistic, habit. Sometimes it's just to get it out of the way of their neck. I don't know if you've ever worn a necklace benching or squatting before, but it can get in the way.
Yeah, that's true. And if it's your ritual, don't change what isn't broken.
Absolutely.
And next up, we have Kohei Hoshino from Japan. 2.5 kilo jump opener, 92.5 kilo opener. I meant to say 2.5 kilo more than our previous lifter. He tells the spotter, I don't need a lift off, I will do it by myself.
Wearing a belt, often raw lifters wear that to help remind themselves to brace into it. And that's a nice looking opener for Kohei.
3 white lights, a good lift, and another beautiful example of the premium quality of the SBD singlet.
Yeah, that's the old style of the Japan SBD singlet. Obviously, Kyoto at Sheffield showed the new one. Kyoto, sorry, at Sheffield displayed the new Japan singlet, and both are really tidy looking.
And this is an example of the new age GBT singlet. Alfie Bonsel, GBR, I'm sorry. 95 kilo opener.
Lovely, easy looking opener for Alfie there.
And that's how it's supposed to be. 3 white lights, a good lift. Ali Khan Egdi from Turkey, 95 kilos.
Yet to see a Turkey Yay singlet, but looking forward to what that may look like in the future. Heavy on the chest, but manages to fight it up.
And it's a 3 white lights, good lift. Next lifter up is Wai Chen Huang, Chinese Taipei, also opening up with 95 kilos.
Nice, solid looking opener there for Wei Chen.
Indeed, 3 white lights, good lift. And we are going into our next lifter, Fahad Al-Ghanim from Bahrain, 97.5 kilos. And as you can see, he is telling the head spotter, he is giving him exact instructions on how he would like his handout to be.
And unfortunately, as he wasn't able to post a squat because of some depth issues, he cannot post a total, but he can still compete for individual medals.
And
Ooh.
unfortunately, 2 red lights.
Yeah, depth issues on bench now, unfortunately. So if you look here for the elbow depth, it's really hard because he's tucking to tell.
So what you're looking for is the lower side of his elbow should be parallel or beneath the middle of his shoulder joint. And the referees say it was just too high, unfortunately. But we are already looking at our next lifter, Carlo Vizza from Italia. 110 kilos. It's our heaviest opener for the sub-juniors.
And it moved well. 3 white lights, a good lift, and exactly how you want that opener to look for you.
Very nice soft touch. And straight up the chest. A little overview after the first round. You can see our Italian lifter leading the pack. And then we have 3 other lifters, all with 95 kilos. And we are heading straight into the second round. Our Hungarian lifter, Daniel Sajban, 90 kilos, second attempt.
Yeah, and it's worth mentioning as well that if lifters have the same weight on the bar, first then the lightest lifter will get the lift or the placing, and if they have the same weight, it will then go to lot number.
A little bit harder from the chest, but a 3 white light, good lift. And Emilia, could you explain what is a lot number?
So when they get weighed in, they get given random lot numbers, and if it comes down to it, they can determine positions should body weight be exactly the same, which is rare, but it does happen.
We are looking at Matthew Kaharap from the Philippines, 92.5 kilos.
A little bit of work, but he works through it, and it is a good lift. A 2.5 kilo jump from first to second.
On your screen, you can see Hayato Okabe, Japan, 92.5 kilo, a 7.5 kilo jump. His opener looked fairly easy. Let's see what he can do right now. A bit slower, but he manages to fight through, and it's a 3 white light, good lift.
Yeah, perhaps a smaller jump to his third there, but does a really good job of it. And just continuing on from our conversation before, lot also is important when it comes to who lifts the same weight first, and the lower lot number cannot then reduce the weight on the bar once the higher lot number has lifted. So it all comes down to that as a last point of call, I suppose.
Now to redeem himself, Fahad Al Ghanaim from Bahrain, retaking 97.5 kilos. Unfortunately, he has not been able to put up a squat on the board. He can proceed the competition, yet not make a total. He missed his first bench press on elbow depth. Let's see if he can correct it this time.
And he works it up, gets the rack command. It took a while to get the rack command there. And was it better than last time? Anticipating that final referee button. Feels like the longest 10 seconds of his life, I bet. 2-1, a good lift. He gets the bench. Let's just look at the replay here. And I think that definitely did look better than his opener.
Straight into the next lifter. Kohei Hoshino, Japan. Make sure his barbell is in the right position under the watchful eyes of his coach. Will try to take a 5 kilo jump to 97.5 kilos.
This will move him into bench press silver for the time being. Ooh, but it just seemed a little bit heavy there for him.
And he looks surprised. He looks at the bench and then at his shirt like, I slipped away a little bit.
Yeah, but looking at that, it doesn't look like he slips at all. So let's see what he does for his third. It did look a little bit like a strength issue. You can look at your shirt all you want. It's not the one doing the lifting, unfortunately.
Matej Newman from Czechia, a 10 kilo jump to 100 kilos.
Oh, he fights through it. He was quick down to the chest and slow up off. But unfortunately, it is a no lift. I think his glutes lifted off the bench there. And let's have a look at this side view there. They don't seem to, so I'm wondering
Maybe
if it was
heels.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it was his heels. Could also be for skipping a command.
I think, or it was the command, or it was his heels. But nevertheless, Ali Khan Egdi from Turkey, 100 kilos. And manages to fight through. It was very similar to his opener, and he gets 3 white lights, a good lift. What do you think, Amelia? How many more kilos does he have in the tank?
Oh, he sinks quite heavy on his chest, and that, as the weight gets heavier, especially as a lighter lifter, is harder and harder to keep up. So I think a conservative jump for him there is probably smart.
I think you're right. But let's see what he and his coach decide. We are looking at Wei Chen Huang from Chinese Taipei. 100 kilos, also a 5 kilo jump from his opener. And he will be moving into third place position for this event. Should he get this? And I think he just did. He is sitting in third place now in the bench press event. 3 white lights, good lift.
And obviously this is a relatively short flight, and because it's raw, it's moving quite quickly, so the lifter's not having too much time to rest in between.
The clock is ticking down. Great Britain, Alfie Bonsall, 102.5 kilos.
This will pull Alfie into silver medal position heading into third attempt.
And that was smooth all the way through. A great lift. Oh, but he did get one yellow.
Yeah, it's from a side referee, which usually indicates it's a lift of sorts. The jury will have a watchful eye on that. We can see here in the replay, but I think he's okay.
Yeah, I did not see any daylight coming out underneath his buttocks.
Yeah, and as long as, you know, you keep contact with the bench, you're absolutely fine there.
It was a good lift, nevertheless. Now, to conclude the second round, Carlo Vizza from Italy, a 10 kilo jump, 120 kilos for a 59 kg sub-junior.
Ooh, just looks a little bit too heavy, unfortunately. Still, of course, has another try of that on his third attempt, but there was nowhere to go and hide from when it's just a bit too heavy. Of course, should he get it, it'll be a double bodyweight bench, which would be very impressive, but we'll have to wait and see as we head into third attempts here.
Next will be Sharapo Matthew, followed by Okabe Hayato.
The third round of the bench press has already been kicked off. Daniel Sajben from Hungary is on the platform, and he will be attempting a 5 kilo jump to 95 kilos. It's work, but I think he might be okay.
And it is a good lift, 3 white lights, and a great way to finish off bench for him with a 2.5 kilo comp PB.
I think that call was right on the money.
Yeah, I don't think he could have lifted an ounce more than that today. So a perfect call for him.
And for people from the metric system, how much is an ounce?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you right now. I've been watching too many kilograms. Got to stop asking me these hard questions when I'm focusing on powerlifting.
Matthew Kaharap from the Philippines, 95 kilos. A very nice fight. It was hard, but he was harder, and that is a 3 white light, a great lift from the Philippines.
Next, Hoshino Kohi, followed by Newman Monday.
And as you can see, they are quickly cleaning the bench pad so that each and every individual lifter can have the same exact circumstances.
Yeah, it's not like deadlifts where they do it between each last bench, but the coach and athlete can request it whenever they like.
Hayato Okabe from Japan, 95 kilos. Let's see what he can do. It is a fight. It is a fight. No, just at the end. And he thanks the crowd again, thanks the spotters. Great sportsmanship. We love to see that. Great to have respect.
And just for your reference point there, an ounce is 28.35 grams. I'm sorry I didn't know that off the top of my head.
Thank you very much, Amelia. Was very important to know. And we are moving on to Kohei Hoshino from Japan. For a second I thought he was placing his feet on the bench pad, but luckily he didn't, because right now that is prohibited. And he is retaking his second attempt of 97.5 kilo.
Yeah, as you said there, a new rule in this year with elbow depth is no feet up on the bench to set up.
Wow. And I think he might have made a correction.
Just waiting for the referees, and yep, 3 white lights.
Yeah. I wonder what went wrong on his first. On his second, I'm sorry. Because he was looking at his shirt.
So maybe he did in fact slip. Maybe it was the shirt.
Maybe his position was not 100%, and now he found his position and he prevailed in the end. Now another lifter trying to retake his second attempt of 100 kilos. It is Matej Newman from Czechia. Let's see if he can follow the footsteps of his competitor. And unfortunately, it was just a tad too heavy. Like you said, it is harder when you have a big drop on the chest.
Yeah. Which typically when you know, in the opposite scenario, control it down to your chest, you know exactly how the weight feels in your hands the whole way through the bench. I can control it therefore better on the way up.
Now, Ali Khan Egdi von Turkey, 102.5 kilos. He took the smallest increment possible. Let's see if that decision pays off.
This will keep him in bench press bronze for the time being, with Huang to follow. Unfortunately, just too heavy today. His placement in bench doesn't move for now, but of course, as I mentioned, there are 4 lifters left to bench still.
Next up, we have Wei Chen Huang, Chinese Taipei. He will be trying to go from 4th to 3rd in the bench press event, trying to get that bronze medal with 102.5 kilos. Like you said, he has still some competitors after him.
Yeah, a good fight there and a perfectly called 3rd attempt, I think. A good lift, and he moves into the bronze medal position for the time being. Which I think can only be taken away by Algonaim.
And because Alfie Bancel, he's already into silver medal position because he's the lighter lifter. He will try and secure his silver medal position in the bench press so that Algenheim cannot take it from him. Great Britain securing silver in the bench press.
Oh, and a perfect last attempt from Alfie. 3 white lights, a good lift, and he walks away with a shiny silver medal, which means Algenheim can only fight for the bronze. And he has to be careful because on his opener he got called for depth. Got it just narrowly on his second. So we'll see.
Fahad Alganaim from Bahrain, 105 kilos. His second attempt was definitely more work than his opener, but he corrected elbow depth. Can he find the sweet spot of elbow depth and strength?
Ooh, unfortunately, trying to find that elbow depth, I think he just lost that strength, and there's a bit too much of a jump for him as well. So does not move into bronze position for bench.
Our last sub-junior lifter in the bench press event, we are seeing Carlo Vizza, Italy, retaking his second attempt of 120 kilos. And he moves better than his second.
Wow.
And he does. He finishes. And it's a 3 white light, good lift. He was already in first place position, but he made it even more impressive, adding 10 kg to that
Yeah.
and securing his lead on the projected total.
As well as a double body weight bench there. So a really fantastic end to bench press for him. And as you said, that concludes the sub-junior benches, but we move straight through now to the junior benches in the 59 kilo class. Kicking us off, we have Jake Edralin of Canada, 105 kilos.
And he always skips onto the platform, showing great energy. Lovely to see.
Nice, easy looking attempt there from Jake. And a good lift. It's also worth noting as well that the walk from the holding area to the platform is relatively long. So if they weren't to skip or run, maybe they'll waste 5 to 10 seconds. So he's very chipper, but also on top of that, I think maybe he doesn't want to waste any of that 1 minute he has. 105 kilos remains in the bar for Bodie Laco of the United States.
$10 kilos shy of his personal best.
Lovely soft touch there. A little bit of work, but he gets up nice and easy. 3 white lights. I don't know if you'll get a shot of him, but his coach probably has the best moustache I've seen in a long time.
It's impressive.
We now have Alexei Laurens Agabon of the Philippines opening on 110 kilos.
Only 5 kilos shy of his personal best. Let's see if he can move this. It was definitely work, but it is 3 white lights.
We now have Ibrahim Sandogji of Saudi Arabia opening on 115 kilos.
10 kilos shy of his personal best, taking a conservative opener.
Nice soft touch on the chest there. And it moves well, exactly how you'd want an opener to look. And a good lift. It's always a good feeling when you don't get any infractions on your opener, because you know you don't have anything to watch out for then on your second. You know you can go out and do the exact same thing.
Definitely lowers your stress level.
115 kilos now for Herman Charbonnier of France.
And that looks like a good lift.
And it was 3 white lights. And I think we're quite used to France opening relatively heavy, but making good choices from there. And it seems like the technique that they sometimes move towards, and it works well for them. But Ivan Campano Diaz, 125 kilos. Campano Diaz. Wow, incredible speed on that opener.
That was very fast, but he does get one red light.
Yeah,
Is
for
it for
depth.
elbow depth?
Yeah, that will be for depth on the left-hand side there. But it seems
It
to
does
be...
look good to me.
Yeah, it does seem good from that angle, and obviously it's harder to tell for those side referees. The opposite of squat, actually. We now have our final opening attempt. We have Ryan Yong of Singapore opening on 125 kilos. He's slightly lighter than Campano Diaz.
And another lovely looking opener.
And it is a good lift. I imagine that they're going to be fighting for that bench press gold. And that concludes our opening attempts with all 7 athletes getting a bench on the board. That's exactly what we like to see. And it looks like it'll be a fight for bench gold as well as bench bronze. You have Bodie Lecoq of the United States jumping 2.5 kilos to 107.5.
And notice the first person out for bench. But if we're looking at the deadlift openers, he is the last person out. It is a fight.
Yeah, but it looks like he won that fight. I feel confident in saying that. We're still waiting for the lights there, but I'm not sure he has too much left in the tank. I imagine we'll see another 2.5 kilo jump.
Body lap for the United States is 17.5 kilograms. Congratulations.
And it was a good lift, just to confirm that. And we move straight through now to Alexei Laurence Agabon of the Philippines, jumping 2.5 kilos to 112.5.
Nice and soft touch, but oh, he did not have the strength today. Unfortunately,
Yeah, I just want to rewatch that quickly because it seemed to come back down pretty quickly. Yeah, and it does look like a strength issue. I was just wondering there if there was another reason he didn't fight through it, but perhaps just knew it wasn't there and didn't want to waste the energy. We now have Jake Ederlin of Canada jumping 10 kilos to 115, a pretty big jump in this bodyweight division.
and he is having a blast, enjoying every second he has on and off the platform. This is beautiful to see. And that looks smooth all the way through. 3 white lights, good lift, and 2 thumbs up.
Lovely celebration there from Jake.
Close to his max. The bar is loaded. Next will be Urban Charbonnet, followed by Ryan Young.
We now have Ibrahim Sandogji of Saudi Arabia jumping 7.5 kilos to 122.5.
Just 2.5 kilos shy of his personal best.
And as I said, there will be a fight for bench press bronze, and it'll be between him and Charbonnet, both taking 122.5 kilos on their second, matching the same jump.
And it is a fight, but he is a fighter. And we are waiting, and it is 3 white lights, good lift.
Yeah, he stuck with it the whole time. The bar didn't stop or quiver, but it did slow down. And as I aforementioned, Herman Charbonnet of France, 122.5 kilos, matching the jump there that Sandogji made, with Charbonnet being the lighter lifter of the two. He has one wrist strap on, I've just noticed. Very interesting. Ooh, also difficult, and he's also fighting through.
Wow.
And almost picture for picture there. 3 white lights, a good lift, and I couldn't tell you which, if either of them, is going to make their next attempt. Very exciting there, fight for bronze. We have just 2 lifts left before we move through to the third attempts. First up, we have Ryan Young of Singapore, 130 kilos, has made a slightly more conservative jump than Campano Diaz.
And he has more in the tank for the third round. 3 white lights, good lift.
Yeah, and I think that's a sensible decision for him. The 5 kilo jump, I think, puts him in a great position to push through to the third attempt. We also know that Ivan Campano Diaz's opener was lightning fast. So he's jumped slightly more to 132.5 kilos. And I think this could be a good call for him. But we'll have to wait and see. And it still moved quick, but unfortunately,
I think he jumped to press command.
yeah. And he's not a risk at really being caught overall, but if he does want that bench gold, then it could be in his favor to still move up, because it clearly wasn't strength. He just needs to listen out a little bit more.
And because he is the heavier lifter over Young, he would need 137.5. But I see he opted to go for retrying his second.
Yeah, he's not that bothered about individual medals, it seems. I think he knows that he's got a good lead and just wants to get as many lifts in as possible, which is a sensible choice. We move straight through to third attempts, and we have Bodie Lecoe of the United States, 110 kilos. And there's the moustache itself. 2.5 kilo jump from his second. Oh, and unfortunately just a little bit too heavy for him today. Doesn't lose out too much there, as he only jumped 2.5 kilos, and he is still projected second overall heading into deadlifts.
And as much as his long arms are preventing him from a big bench, they are enabling him for a big deadlift.
Yeah, and we do see that trade-off often, and it seems like he does have the biggest deadlift opener at 250. First, we have Alexei Laurence Agabon of the Philippines, retaking 112.5 kilos. Missed it on his second attempt and is reattempting it now. Sat in third overall with Yong of Singapore with the exact same projected total. He's going to need
And
the
it's
kilos.
going.
One arm, two arm, blocks it out. Ooh, unfortunately, 2 to 1, a no lift. A yellow from each side usually indicates that there is a butt lift. And yeah, you can see the daylight coming through from underneath there. Or rather, the light that's plugged in to see that exact reason. We now move through to Jake Edrelin of Canada, 122.5 kilos, and this will pull him into bench bronze for the time being, with 4 lifters to follow.
He does not want a lift off. He's gonna do it himself. Control the variables he can control.
Nice strong looking self-hand out there.
And he's fighting, he keeps fighting, but I think the bar already went down, and unfortunately just a bit too heavy.
Yeah, he doesn't really lose position overall there, so I think he is trying to take a stab at an individual medal. But to no avail, I'm ashamed to say. We now have Ibrahim Sandogji of Saudi Arabia, 125 kilos. As we know, he'll be fighting Charbonnier of France for the bronze medal in bench. For the time being, this will bring him to silver, but we know that Young and Campano Diaz are to follow.
This will match his previous best at 125.
Ooh, but unfortunately, just too heavy today for him, which means that Charbonnier will walk away with the bronze bench medal, as he is the lighter of the two lifters. So regardless of whether he gets his final bench, he will get the bronze bench medal at the very least. Herman Charbonnier of France, 125 kilos to move him into silver, ahead of Campano Diaz for the time being. As we know, he missed it on a skipping command, not a strength issue. Oh, he is fighting, but I think he is just not quite there today. But he loses nothing by attempting it. And he still walks away with the bronze bench. Now, we have not had one lifter make their final attempt in this flight. And with 2 attempts left to go,
I
if
think
anyone can, I think it'll be Ivan Campano Diaz. He missed it on skipping the command on his second, but man, it was lightning quick. So quickly gives a quick spud to the center referee and retaking 132.5, which he know he can move well. And this will move him into gold place for bench for the time being, with Young to follow. And it did look a little harder this time, but he does manage to lock it out. He listened for the commands, and it is a good lift. Our first lifter of this flight to get his final attempt in. He broke the streak. And can Ryan Young of Singapore keep it up? Ryan Young of Singapore, 135 kilos. This will pull him into bench press gold overall and pull him closer to Laco on overall totals.
I think you meant push instead of pull. Pun intended.
And he's pushing through, but it's just a little bit too heavy for him. And he still walks away with bench press silver, as Campano Diaz walks away with bench press gold. We will be taking a short 10-minute break before we head into deadlifts for the sub-juniors and juniors. First up, though, in the 59 kilo sub-juniors in bench gold, we have Carlo Vizza of Italy. In silver, we have Alfie Bonsell of Great Britain. And in bronze, we have Wei Chen Huang of Chinese Taipei. And in the juniors, we have Ivan Campano Diaz of Spain in gold, Ryan Young of Singapore in silver, and Herman Charbonnier of France in bronze. Don't go anywhere, we will catch you shortly for deadlifts.
notice, y'all in danger, I'm a threat. Really, y'all don't notice, y'all in danger, I'm a threat. Threat, 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 threat. Really, y'all don't notice, y'all in danger, I'm a threat.
Well, welcome back at the IPF World Classic Championships for the sub juniors and the juniors in Cluj-Napoca, Romania. My name is Elias de Buc and I'm here joined with Amelia Potter.
Hello, Elias. It has been a very exciting beginning to the classic competition the last few sessions, and this has been no exception. What an exciting afternoon we have in store, beginning with the sub-junior 59s.
And you just heard the buzzer indicating that the competition has begun. The spotters are loading the first bar for our lifter Daniel Sajben from Hungary.
So yeah, actually it seems a little bit much more of a closer race between Hoshino and Huang than we originally anticipated, it seems, with only 7.5 kilos separating the two. And it seems like Japan has upped their opener. So it'll be an interesting fight. But first,
Daniel Sajben, Hungary, 162.5 kilos.
yeah, under his record of 176.5 kilos that he holds in Hungary.
And it looks like he is opting to lift with knee sleeves.
Locks it out. And it is a good lift. Yeah, obviously knee sleeves, the trade-off there is the bar can get, gripped to the knee sleeves and make it difficult as the weights get heavier to pull up. And you can talc the knee sleeves all you want, but they're still fabric.
And that is what you're seeing on his legs. It is talc or baby powder. It is not chalk.
No, that would do the opposite effect then that you
The
would want.
exact opposite, indeed.
You don't want talc on your hands or chalk on your legs. Don't mix up those two bottles.
Next up, we have Carlo Vizza, Italia, 165 kilos. And it is more work off the floor, but then a snappy lockout. Amelia, it is more common to sumo deadlift than it is to a conventional deadlift, isn't it?
Yeah, it's more common in sumo to see a lifter struggle a bit more off the ground and then get a snappier lockout. In conventional, you see them quite snappy off the ground when the weight is light enough, of course, and then struggle a little bit closer to the lockout.
We are moving into the next attempt. Matej Newman, Czechia, with a 170 kg opener.
Wow, really nice and snappy. And that's what you want to see, somewhere to go from your opener. It's a good lift. There's no point opening with something so heavy that you're not going to get your second or third.
There is no medal for heaviest opener. And looking to step onto the platform, we have Hayato Okabe from Japan with 175 kilos. takes a little bow to show respect.
I really do love it when lifters do that.
It is. It's wonderful to see.
Looked solid. Opening on that 3 red plate, flush look, 3 white lights.
Good lift. Next up, we see Ali Khan Ekdi from Turkey, 180 kilos.
And it moved super well. Let's see what the referees say. 3 white lights, a good lift.
It really looks that he has those long deadlift arms. Our next lifter to the platform, Alfie Bonsell from Great Britain, 185 kilos for his opener.
Wow, and super speedy there. A great example of a conventional lift there. So feet close together and hands on the outside of the legs. And that's 3 white lights, a good lift for Alfie.
And we are moving on to our plus 200 kilo openers. Starting off, Wei Chen Huang, Chinese Taipei, with 205 kilos.
Opening just 5 kilos below his current deadlift PB. Pretty common to see in the sub-juniors though, hey?
It is. Their rate of adaptation is super high. And they make a lot of progress. Taking his time.
Nice tidy looking opener. Really nice form. And a
Three
good
white-
lift.
Kohei Hoshino, Japan, 210 kilos.
Just for a point of reference, the world sub-junior record is 260 kilos.
Nice and long deadlift arms. And that was snappy.
Yeah, and it is a good lift. Wow, Ray, he really does have long deadlift arms, doesn't he? And what you mean by that, of course, is similar to benching and having short arms, it decreases the range of movement. So having to pull the bar slightly less far off the ground than if you had T-Rex arms like me.
Does that mean you have a massive bench press?
Still no, unfortunately.
Matthew Kaharap from the Philippines, opening with 215 kilos.
He's been competing for less than 1 year and doing well to keep up on this international stage. And it's a good lift.
On to our heaviest opener at the sub-juniors deadlift event. We have Fahad Al-Ghanaim from Bahrain. Unfortunately for him, he did not get a valid squat attempt in. He can definitely compete for individual medals, but not a total.
Manages to lock it out. And 3 white lights, a good lift. A smoother start to deadlifts than he had for squat and bench.
And that also already concludes our first round, and we are heading into the second round. The bar is loaded for Daniel Sajben, Hungary. $172.5 kilo, a 10 kilo jump.
And it's great to see that everybody managed to get an opener in.
And 2-to-1, good lift, 1 red light.
Yeah, that's for not completing the lift, so insufficient lockout, says the left-hand side referee.
And the bar is loaded for Carlo Vizza. Italy, 175 kilos. Took a 10 kilo jump from his opener.
Patient off of the floor, locks it out. And that is a good lift, a great example of being patient with the sumo and being rewarded with a snappier lockout.
Well, he took a 10 kilo jump right now. What do you think his coach should put in on his third and final deadlift?
It really depends if he's in contention for anything or fighting for something. I think something below a 10 kilo jump this time round, 5 to 7 would be an absolute max. And
We are having Matej Newman from Czechia on the platform, who took a 12.5 kilo jump, 182.5. And again, slow off the floor, but snappy at the top. And it is a good lift, 3 white lights.
His personal best is 190. The bar is loaded.
And the bar is loaded for Hayato Okabe from Japan. 185 kilos, 10 kilo jump from his opener.
a little bit sticky on the way up, but manages to pull through, and a good lift. I imagine a slightly smaller jump there to his third. as it's starting to look heavy, but does a great job of pulling through.
Yeah, you can see at the lockout when he comes right above the knees, it gets a little bit tougher. So indeed, maybe we will see a 5 kilo jump.
Perhaps whatever they think is best for the athlete, they know them best.
Ali Khan Ekti, Turkey. 195 kilo, a 15 kilo jump from his opener.
Still looking pretty good there for Ali Khan. And a good lift.
The jump didn't seem to slow him down much.
Yeah, when the sumo starts looking stickier above the knee around lockout, that's when you know it's time to slow down on the weights.
Another lifter not planning on slowing down. We have Alfie Bonsell from Great Britain. 197.5 kilo. And before I finish my sentence, he got it to the top. 3 white lights, good lift.
Yeah, and I imagine Alfie is going to be looking to get the biggest total possible. He's not miles away from Kaharop, but it's very much based on how the next couple of deadlifts go for Kaharop.
Indeed, we will see him in a few attempts, but first we are seeing Wei Chen Huang, Chinese Taipei, with a 10 kilo jump to 215 kilos. Looks very nice for a second one.
And a good lift, leaving him in a good position heading into the third attempt.
$220 kilo. Kohei Hoshino, Japan, took a 10 kilo jump, and he is creeping closer and closer. He will move from 4th to 1st in the deadlift event with this one, and from 2nd to 1st overall.
Those are some real deadlift arms on him. And as you said, he'll be creeping up behind Huang.
It's work off the floor, but easy to the top. Did he wait for the command? No, he didn't. I was afraid about that.
Yeah, unfortunately, he just didn't hold it long enough at the top. As you so rightly said, you can see here, he does all the hard work, but just can't quite keep it. His left knee unlocked and tipped him forwards, I think.
It's very unfortunate because it was right on the border with that command. Just a half a second longer and he had it.
Yeah, I don't think he can be caught for his silver.
Matthew Kaharop, Philippines, 222.5 kilos.
He'll have to add more on his third to catch up with Huang. A nice looking attempt there from Matthew with a 7.5 kilo jump from his opener.
And with that, he jumped from 3rd to 1st on the deadlift event and from 4th to 3rd in the projected total.
Yeah, of course, with still Augenheim and to lift and the third attempts to go, all of that is subject to change, but for the time being.
And the bar is loaded for Fahad Algheim, Bahrain, 227.5 kilos, getting to that 500-pound mark He is still in contention for a deadlift medal, however, not for a total. This will move him from second place to first for the time being.
Ooh, he gets a bit stuck there. I think, yeah, once you're in that position, it's really hard to pull through.
Let's take a look at the replay. You can see his knees lock out pretty early and his shoulders start creeping to the front.
Yeah, his knees are already locked out at this point and really creates a difficult job for him to pull through from there.
And on the screen, you can see the deadlift placing so far after the second round. We are heading into the third round straight away, but as you will see, after each and every attempt, the spotters will clean the bar so that every contender has the best possible circumstances to get their third deadlift in. Kicking off round 3, Daniel Sajban from Hungary. 177.5 kilos on the bar.
Manages to lock it out just there at the end. And looks a bit like his limit, but it doesn't matter because it's his third attempt and he gets it.
Carlo Vizza from Italy with 180 kilos. He's shown some great lifting today.
Looks like he's not choosing not to do up his belt. Similar to his squats. Wow, it's moving, but only an inch, unfortunately. And not quite there for him today.
Just a tad too heavy. But let's see what Matej Newman from Czechia can do. He took a 12.5 kilo jump from first to second and a 10 kilo jump from second to third. It's moving, and his 3 attempts look the same from start to finish, harder from the floor and easier at the top. A great looking deadlift.
Yeah, a really strong end to the day for him.
And the bar is loaded for Hayato Okabe, Japan. He jumped 10 kilos from first to second and now trying 15 kilos more. Maybe he just wants that milestone in the books. Good luck.
Just a little bit too heavy, unfortunately, for him. Yeah, there was no technical advantage to that. I wouldn't move his position, so I think you're right. I think he just wanted to give that 200 kilo milestone a crack.
And he walks away showing respect to each and everyone in the room. Lovely to see. We are ready for the next lifter. Alikan Egdi from Turkey. 202.5 kilos, a 7.5 kilo jump from his second. Let's see if he has some gas left in the tank.
Wow, he pulls it through and, oh, just at the last hurdle, unfortunately, couldn't quite lock it out. And no lift today for him.
Now we are taking a look at the projected totals. And the next lifter, Alfie Bonsell from Great Britain, attempting 205. If he makes this one, he will go temporarily in the totals from 4th to 3rd.
Wow, he keeps going and he locks it out. What a fantastic last
He gets
pull
the
there.
down command. Oh no! Was it just before down command?
The coach goes to the jury and they are watching it, looking for what that yellow was for. He did hold it at the top for a while. And they are discussing it. We'll keep you in the loop in regards to that. The juror goes to the center referee to ask whether he'd got the down command or not yet, and what the yellow was for.
But in the meantime, we will be looking at the next lifter.
I think they're just waiting to find out about Alfie's last lift first. Ah, here we go.
So the clock is ticking now for Kohei Hoshino from Japan. 222.5 kilos on the bar. He will be trying to move from 4th to 1st in the deadlift event and from 2nd to 1st on the totals, with 3 more lifters remaining.
And that was a lovely looking third attempt. Added 2.5 kilos there in the hope to keep up with Huang. And he's managed it, and we've had an attempt change as we expected to see, as Huang is the heavier of the two lifters. So need to now lift 2.5 kilos more than Hoshino. They are not just fighting for first overall, but also for best scoring IPF points between the two of them. Currently, Hoshino is in front, with Huang to follow. He has indeed increased it by 2.5 kilos. But first,
Matthew Kaharab from the Philippines. 225 kilos could move him from 2nd to 1st in the deadlifts. Will keep him in 3rd on total. And to just quickly, Alfie's lift, Alfie Bonsell's lift is not a good lift.
yeah, he just skipped the down command, and the jury agreed, unfortunately.
And he did a little anime referation.
And can he put it through? It looks like he does. A fantastic last effort from Matthew.
Shinzo Sasageo. 3 white lights, great lift. We are rolling in our 2 final deadlift attempts. Fahad Al-Ghanim can still move from third to first place in the deadlifts. 227.5, just barely missed it on his second, and he has a chance to redeem himself.
He is lighter between himself and Huang, however, so should they both make it, Huang walks away with deadlift gold.
And he gets it going, but cannot get it past his knees, just like the previous one. And unfortunately, it was just too heavy. On to our final deadlift attempt for our 59 kilo sub-juniors. We are seeing on screen Wei Chen Huang from Chinese Taipei. This will move him from fourth to first in the deadlift event, but more importantly, from second to first in total.
This is a big jump. This is a 12.5 kilo jump here in the 59 kilo class
Trying to overtake Hoshino.
in both overall and best scoring athlete.
I'm sure you're all on the top of your chairs. And unfortunately, it's just too heavy. He will be walking away with the total silver, but Hoshino goes with gold.
Yeah, a fabulous session there. And we head straight through to the 59 kilo juniors. I'm not on top of my chair, but I am on the edge of my seat.
It was a bit too literally translated, I think.
That's all right. Your English is better than my Belgique.
Belgique?
Exactly, that's
You're Dutch.
yeah, that too.
Yeah, that too. Well, you can show if you're better in French as well.
I don't think I am, but anyway, we have Herman Charbonnet of France, 190 kilos.
15 kilos beneath his personal best, kicking off our juniors.
And wow, a nice snappy opener. And with that, he secures his total. So unlike the last flight of lifters, everybody got a squat and a bench press in. So when they get their openers, they will secure themselves a total. In doing so, Jake Edwelin of Canada, 210 kilos.
And he is having loads of fun. From the first time he stepped onto the platform until the last one. 17.5 kilos beneath his personal best.
Patient off of the floor and stands it up. Just waiting for one of the referees. 2-1, a good lift. Just gets a red from the side referee for insufficient lockout. And it does look better on the replay, but he does need to be careful not to go any more forward than that. We have Ryan Yong of Singapore, 212.5 kilos.
Wow. And that was snappy.
And a good lift, yeah, and we love to see that because as we repeat over and over again, there's no point in risking your total for a heavy opener. It's just not worth it.
And in that way, you secure total and you save up some energy for your next two attempts that matter the most.
Yeah, 100%. It's just a better trade-off. We have Ibrahim Sandogji of Saudi Arabia opening on 220 kilos. Looked a little bit heavy off the ground there, but manages to lock it out, and it's a good lift. I don't think he would want his opener any heavier than that. I think that was the line. We now have Ivan Campano Diaz of Spain, 240 kilos. He has a significant lead, and getting this deadlift would secure that.
.22.5 kilos under his personal best. And that looked like a very conservative opener.
Yeah, wow, still looked like a warm-up there. 3 white lights, a good lift, and he secures that total, which is especially important for him as he has such a hefty lead. We now have Alexei Laurent Agabon of the Philippines opening on 242.5 kilos. Our penultimate opener of this flight. It's a very small flight of 7, so they're going to be moving quickly back there.
And that was easy off the floor, easy on the lockout, and a 3 white lights, good lift.
Now, as a lifter yourself, what for you is the optimal flight size?
It depends on how you've trained, I think. If you're used to very long pauses, this is really quick. But if you train that way, it's actually quite nice.
Yeah, very individual, I suppose. We now have our heaviest opener of the flight, Bodhi Lecoq of the United States, 250 kilos. And it's worth mentioning that the world junior record to break would be 275 kilos. I believe that's the standard. I don't think anyone's reached that yet. No, it is a record. And it's moving quickly on his opener. 2-1, a good lift. Just a lockout issue with the right-hand side. We now move to our second attempts, and we have Herman Charbonnier of France, 200 kilos.
It was a bit work, but he did it.
We now have Jake Edrelin of Canada, 222.5 kilos.
Only 5 kilos away from his personal best.
nice and patient off the ground and is rewarded with that nice quick lockout. A good lift for Jake.
And he took a 12.5 kilo jump. I think on his third he will take a smaller jump, but he does have some more kg more in the tank.
We now have 225 kilos for Ibrahim Sandoji of Saudi Arabia. A 5 kilo jump from his opener. Just rolls the bar to the place on the platform where he's happy with. Ooh, it seems just a little bit too heavy. And we did say on his opener that it was the hardest you want to see an opener be. He obviously has another try of that on his third, but as we always say, you know, strength isn't something you can just get more of on the day. Sumo, of course, being the more technical of the two stances, so position does matter, but not when it's to do with strength. We now have 227.5 kilos for Ryan Yong of Singapore. It's really close between him and Agabon of the Philippines for third overall. And 3 white lights, that's a good lift. It's just going to be who has more in the tank at the end of the day for that final pull.
And that moved him actually into second place so far.
Yeah, with some lifters to follow, but we'll see how that unfolds. Ivan Campano Diaz of Spain, 255 kilos. Ooh, just looks a little bit heavy. A 15 kilo jump might have been too much there. He still has a considerable lead over Leco by 37.5 kilos. But we know Leco has a big pull on him. Alexei Laurent Agabon of the Philippines now, 255 kilos. This will move him into silver overall with Leco with a big jump still to go. But he will realistically be fighting Yong for third place. Ooh, and unfortunately that just looks a bit heavy, whereas obviously Yong's looked really quick, which opens the gap up a lot between them.
This will come to the wire in the third round.
It'll be very exciting. But first up we have our last second attempt. Bodhi Leco, who's jumped 15 kilos to just 10 kilos below the World Open and Junior record in the 59s, belonging to Derek Ng. 265 kilos for his second attempt. Ooh, but a bit of a struggle. A 15 kilo jump is a big one to make, and unfortunately I don't think we'll see Derek's record broken today. What do you think there?
Yeah, that definitely looked very hard, and of course they have still their third attempt trying to retake it, but I think it's too far away.
Yeah, perhaps a 12.5 kilo jump there would have made a difference, but hindsight, you know, but you don't have it until afterwards. We now move on to our third and final attempts, and first up we have Herman Charbonnier of France, 207.5 kilos.
And that looks like a perfectly called third attempt. 3 white lights, good lift, not a kilo more in the tank.
Ibrahim Sadogji of Saudi Arabia missed 225 kilos on his second, looking to retake it now for his third. It looks like perhaps he's not coming out for it, however, and doing the sportsmanship-like thing to do by letting the clock run out. It is already a small flight of lifters. There's no need to make it any shorter for your fellow competitors, unless, of course, in very specific situations, you know, it works in your favor for placing. But I'll use these 30 seconds to thank our sponsors, SBD and Aleco. Without them, none of this would be possible. Thank you for providing the singlets, the belts, the wrist wraps, the knee sleeves, the comp rack, the platform, the plates, the bars. I could go on and on. The sport would not be the same without them. So thank you for all that you do. And as we time out, the spotters and loaders prepare the bar for our next lifter. Just 5 deadlifts left to go in this flight. Our next session this evening will be 5 p.m. local time, and that'll be the 52 kilo and 57 kilo sub-junior women. Now, however, we have 230 kilos on the bar for Jake Edralin of Canada. This will give him a deadlift PB and a total of 520 kilos.
This will also give him a having fun PB on the platform.
Ooh, but just too heavy for Jake today, unfortunately. But still walks away after having a fantastic competition.
Gives a little thanks to each and everyone in here.
We now have Ryan Yong of Singapore, 240 kilos, a 12.5 kilo jump, and this will pull him into bronze place in the deadlifts, currently sat in silver overall. Wow.
And that looked great. A nice looking third attempt. 3 white lights, a good lift for Young. And let's see if that secured his position with Leco still needing to lift. But remember, he missed his second. Can he get it on his third? But first, we have 2 other lifters.
First up, we have Ivan Campano Diaz of Spain, missed 255 on his second on what looked like a strength issue. Coming back out now for it on his third. It will pull him temporarily into deadlift gold. He already has gold overall secured, but wants that extra medal.
He is fighting, but the weight is a little bit too heavy today. He will take that with him to the next competition and maybe make a more sensible decision.
And hopefully he isn't too disappointed. Of course, he still walks away the 59 kilo champion and just 20 kilos off of the world junior total record. We now have Alexei Laurens Agabon of the Philippines retaking 255 kilos. This will take him into deadlift gold, but more importantly, into bronze overall.
Being cheered on from the crowd. Unfortunately, just a little bit too heavy today. And we're moving on to our last lifter of this session.
And here he comes. We have Bodie Laco of the United States. Missed 265 kilos, and I'm sure he thought he'd be attempting the world record here on his third, but 265 kilos, nothing to be ashamed of. That is a fantastic last pull. This will pull him into second overall should he get this. Looking for that silver medal ahead of Young.
He already has the first place in deadlift. But can he go for silver total?
It's moving. Wow. Can
He
he
is
look it out?
fighting. He keeps going. But did he look
Ooh.
it out? I don't think so.
Yeah, I think his frustration is shown straight away. I think he knows he didn't quite get it, but what a fight he put in. To even be able to lift 10 kilos below the world record is an incredible feat. And that concludes our 59 kilo sub-junior and junior lifters. Very quickly here in the 59 kilo juniors, in deadlift, we have Bodie Laco in gold of the United States, Alexei Laurens Agabon of the Philippines in silver, and Ryan Young of Singapore in bronze. And overall, we have in first place Ivan Campano Diaz of Spain. In silver, we have Ryan Young of Singapore. And in bronze, we have Bodie Laco of the United States. We have the medal ceremony coming up very shortly for you, and our next session begins at 5 o'clock, which will be the 52 kilo and 57 kilo sub-junior women. Don't go anywhere, we'll catch you then.
Japan, Kohei Hoshima. Thank you very much. Moving on to bench press. The third place goes to Taipei, Wei Chen Huang. Our dancer from Great Britain is second. And the gold goes to Carmelita, Italy. Thank you very much. Seeing now the results for deadlift, starting with the third place from Bahrain is Fahad Algan. Japan comes second, Kohei Hoshima. And the gold goes to Filipinas, Matthew Quevedo. Moving on now, thank you very much. Moving on to totals. The third place goes to Matthew Quevedo, Filipinas. Taipei comes second, Wei Chen Han. And Japan comes first, Kohei Hoshima. Everybody please stand for Japan's national anthem. Well done, Kohei Hoshima. Well done, Japan. Moving on now to 59 kilograms juniors, and starting with the third place, Singapore, Ryan Young. Number 2 is France, Herman Charbonnier. And the gold goes for Spain, Ivan Diaz Campano. That's it for the squats. Now moving on to bench press. Nothing changes there. The third is France, Herman Charbonnier. Second is Singapore, Ryan Young. And the gold goes to Spain, Ivan Campano. Thank you very much. Moving to deadlift. The third place goes to Singapore, Ryan Young. Second is Alexei Lyland Agabon.